If you or anyone around you are affected by the subjects of today's podcast, you can reach out to get help, advice, or support from our charity partners, Women's Aid, at womensaid.org.uk, or the Yorkshire-based organisation IDAS at idas.org.uk. You can also find these links and reach out to us directly via our website takebackthebeat.co.uk or email us at takebackthebeattour@gmail.com. That's takebackthebeattour@gmail.com.
Take back the beat. Voice notes.
Hello,
Hi.
hello, and welcome to
Take Back the Beat.
Voice-
There you go.
Hello.
How are you? Well, I know today we are crazy, everyone. Nat,
Oh,
I know
God.
what's wrong. But
Yeah.
Nat, fill the people in. Tell them
mean, on
about
a
your
scale
near-death
of,
experience. It's not funny.
Another
You've
one.
been to A&E today, so that
literally,
scared me.
it's a who, isn't it? Yeah, on a scale of 1 to a whole jar of Biscoff, I'm fucking flying
Oh,
high
she's jumping
today.
straight in. Okay.
I know, so I had a lighting rig fall on my head on Saturday, which was fun. Before actually we get into this, just a quick apologies. Obviously, we've had 2 weeks of 2 weeks or 1 week of no podcasts. 2 weeks, I think.
It's 2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks. Mainly because both of us been really busy, and then obviously respect for the royal family.
Yeah.
Didn't feel appropriate. So we're back. But in the meantime, I had a lighting rig fall on my head, which caused mild concussion, and I've got a bit of a cut and a bruise on my eye and my temple, which is really fun. So that happened on Saturday, which was 4 days ago, and I've had a headache ever since and been a bit loopy. So me mum took me to A&E this morning, and we sat there for 4 hours. which was
Tell them
really
who
fun.
you were sat next to.
Oh God! Yeah. I just messaged Farah being like, I might not make it home for the podcast. A guy had cut his finger off and was sat next to me and was talking about it. And there was so much blood. Like, he had this tissue holding his finger, and there was just blood. And I was like, I don't need to see it. I don't need to see that.
Didn't you say he was like talking about it to everyone, just really casually, like, so
Literally,
did it in a
literally,
slicer?
him and another guy who'd also hurt his finger, different humans, didn't know each other. They just had a little chat about their finger slicing off.
Ew.
And then he was like, yeah, it was just like ham. And I was like,
Oh, no.
I don't need this in my life.
And you're a vegetarian, so that's
I'm a
not what you need
vegetarian.
to hear, is it?
I already feel queasy. Thank you so much. But yeah, and then, like, to be honest, I had to do all these tests with the doctor, and it was bants. Like, I had to, like, it's basically like a drunk test. Like, I was doing
Ooh.
this, like, walks I had to do and follow it. He's like, touch my finger and touch your nose, and I was like, okay, like, doing that. And then he kept moving his finger, and I was like, this is very. I feel like I'm at school. But yeah, I passed with flying colours that I don't have any kind of, like, brain injury or anything, and it's just a mild concussion.
Okay,
And I just
good.
need to. He used this word that I didn't know what it meant, but it was called rest.
Never. Sorry,
I've
could you pronounce it again?
Rest. I think it's.
Is that?
I think it's spell REST.
It's just it starts with an E, yeah. Is there a silent E?
For fuck's sake. Oh, maybe I don't fucking know. I'm gonna Urban Dictionary look it
The
up.
Y
later.
is silent.
What
What is that from? Is it Step Brothers?
The way.
Yogging?
It-
Something like that. Anyway, that was off topic. For my Step Brothers fans out there, you'll get
Yeah,
me.
I got you. I don't.
Good.
Is it Step Brothers?
I think there's when they're having their interview
know.
and they say something about the J is silent. I don't know. Maybe.
Can't remember.
It's pronounced
I just remember Step
Yogging.
Brothers being like, you're like, but your voice is like between Fergie and Jesus.
And Jesus, I
And it's
know.
I know. Way off
But
topic, guys.
anyway, she's fine. Apart
yeah,
from
I'm
she's high
fine.
on drugs.
I am. I've got some lovely drugs. that I've got to take 4 times a day. And for those that know me will know that that is just like my worst nightmare. Like I struggle to even take the pill, mate. Like I can't swallow tablets. I hate tablets. I never take paracetamol or ibuprofen. So these tablets like fucking mini rocks. But it's all for the good cause.
Your mum will have to hide it in your food like we do for the dogs.
When we give my dogs like pate so they take their drugs.
Yeah, I used to hide it in a cube of cheese for Ellie.
Do you?
Yeah, but she
Oh,
cottoned
Minion
on
likes
to me,
pate.
and she used to like swill it around her mouth. This is actually a true story. She was so smart. She used to swill it around her mouth, eat the cheese, and spit the tablet out,
Ledge.
or keep the tablet in her cheek. I used to have to flip her cheeks up and be like, "You little shit," because she knew she'd get more cheese. And I'm like, "You are clever, but also please take the fucking tablet, man." Like,
But please do this.
yeah,
Yeah,
she
mate.
should just spit it out, and I'd be like, "What did she just do?" And I'd look on the kitchen floor, and she'd spat a tablet out, but ate the cheese. And I was like, "Wow."
Do you know, literally, like my mum's dog Molly, like is really terrified of like fireworks or like storms. So when it gets to like kind of fireworks season, we give her a little bit of like these drugs we got from the vets that are all safe for dogs, but like kind of mellows them out a little bit, a bit
Yeah.
like Valium, I guess.
Love.
Valium for dogs. And my dog's like, "Yay, pate during the day! What the fuck? That's great." Whereas like Molly's like,
Something's
in
not
that.
right. Yeah.
you don't do that during the day, and she'll literally like look at you like, "I don't trust you."
Yeah.
And we've tried to put it in everything, and she's like, "No, I know when I get my treats, and that's not now."
Yeah.
So whereas
Fuck.
my dog's like, "Oh, more? Can I have that one? Can I have this?" And you're like, "Oh, bless you." So yeah, I'm definitely on the mend.
Good.
But yeah, it's just been a bit of a rocky week because kind of like stirs a mental breakdown, doesn't it? Of like going, "Oh my god, I'm self-employed, so therefore if I don't get on stage and perform, I'm not gonna get paid." Like
Yeah.
the woman on the like when I called the ambulance, she was like, "You need to go home and rest." I was like, "No, I'm at a gig.
Yeah.
I've literally meant to be on stage now." And she was like, no." And I was like, if I don't get on that stage, I don't get paid. I then can't pay my rent. Like
Yeah.
and the reality of that kind of hit me, and I just sat on my kitchen floor, like if anyone's seen my TikTok, and I just sat there, just cried, and was just like, what the fuck? Like this could have been so much worse. Like
Yeah.
I'm so lucky.
Yeah.
This could have been horrific. Like thank God I'm okay. As is the drummer who also got hit in the head with the lights. Like we're both absolutely fine, but that might not have been the case. And it's just that whole thing of like, I got back up, I did the gig, I got up the next day with a massive black eye and a swollen head, and I went and did another gig because I was booked to do that gig. And
Which I bollocked you for.
you did, yes. So did
'Cause you didn't
Aiden,
tell
so did my
me
mum.
either. You didn't tell me any of this until the day I was flying home. Don't. I'm giving her the evils. That's what's happening now. You can't see, but we're giving each other the look because she
I
knows
was
she's
just-
in bother.
I know. Like to be honest, it was just like, oh, for fuck's sake, why am I doing this? And then I was like in the car to the gig, and it's one of the things of going, what are you doing? Oh yeah, of course you're gonna do that.
Yep.
So that's me. However, you've had a very much more exciting weekend.
I have, but I feel really bad because I was like,
You had like the complete opposite of what I experienced.
I know, and
Which
I'm
is no,
sorry.
that's quite like, I know that's not nice, that's the right word, wrong word, but like it's very yin and yang, isn't it, of like our
Yeah.
industry. Like you will have days where you are treated like fucking royalty and
Oh,
like
God, yeah.
the
And the-
Beyonces that we all are.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
best experiences like
Yes.
the past weekend has just been incredible, and it has been one of
Yeah.
those times where I've gone, oh shit, I'm at work, like I'm getting paid to be here to do
Yeah.
something that I love, that is my career.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. But then I've also had gigs like that where I'm just like,
Yeah.
why the fuck am I here? Nobody cares.
Literally.
Hello, like is this
yeah.
thing on? Like,
Yeah, because I was saying to you, like at my gig, like I had people on the dance floor smoking, and they burnt me and the other singer. Like we literally got cigarette burns.
I said to you, didn't I? I was like, is it the 90s? Did you go back in time for this gig? Why the
Literally,
fuck is
like-
everyone smoking cigarettes?
It
Well,
was
or
so bizarre.
inside.
So bizarre, but like I literally, when I got home, I was like, because obviously the weekend before I'd done Reading Pride and I'd supported Nadine Coyle, and then
Yeah.
like a few weeks before that I'd like
Yeah.
supported Fundamental. And I literally just sat on my floor and was like, oh my fucking god,
Yeah.
this world is so
Oh, it
like,
keeps you
what the
humble.
fuck?
Keeps you
Oh
humble
yeah,
for sure.
keeps you on your
Yeah.
toes.
And like that's like I've just got back for those. I don't know if we even said. I think we're talking like everybody knows, but I just got
Yeah.
back. I got booked for Malta Pride.
Yes, you did,
So
bitches.
yeah, so I got flown out to Malta on Friday and performed on the main stage on Saturday. There was
Which
like
was
12,500 people there. It was in the big square in
But did
Valletta.
she take any videos and send them? No, she did not.
Okay, so this was the issue. Okay, so on the way there, my flight got
Livid.
delayed, so I got there at 3 a.m. when I shouldn't have got there a lot sooner. So I was very tired, might I add.
Gross.
So I got there. By the time I'd got like showered and come down a little bit and gone, okay, you're in
Yeah.
Malta, like not stressing, but obviously I hadn't met the organizer yet. That was going to be the following day. He'd arranged a car to pick me up at the airport, so I hadn't met anyone but the driver yet, because everyone was in bed. So I was like, right, make sure you set an alarm, like etc. etc. So yeah, so by the time we'd got sorted and gone out for, he took us out for lunch and was basically like, this is how things are going to run.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I need a nap before this big show. Like, I'm tired. I didn't get to sleep till like 4. So it was like a whole thing. So I was like, right, I'm gonna go have a nap and then we'll sound check like later. So by the time I got there and did sound check, by the way, it was. And again, this is the one thing I will moan about, but it's a beautiful, beautiful place. But the humidity is not
Oh.
even real. It was like I've been stood in a shower. Like everyone was the same.
Oh.
The sun wasn't hot. Like if you get it, it was just the humidity. It was like
Yeah.
32, and it was just humid.
Oh.
And then I was like, the other act I was with was like, she'd done a sound check the day before, and it was even hotter. And she was like, I couldn't breathe. She was like, I had to like sing from somewhere. She was like, trying to catch my
Some
breath in this
shade.
heat outside. Like it was crazy.
Fuck.
But no, by the time we'd
That's
done
mad.
that, and then all of a sudden the show had started. And I was on first, no, not first, but I was on. There was 2 international singers that came across. It was me and another girl from Dublin.
Yeah.
So the show opened with like local celebs type thing. And so it was like somebody who'd won Malta, X Factor Malta, Volta Voice, something like that.
Sure.
It was incredible, and so was the girl. And then you had your drag queens on; they'd flown them out. But me and the other singer were literally like, I was on, then she was on, then I was on, then she was on. So it was very, very quick. It was like you were literally
Yeah.
running to and from the stage. So I didn't have time to film her show, and obviously she didn't have time to film mine. But I'm sure there will be. I'm gonna message the organizer
Hunt,
and get him to send me
yes.
some videos. But yeah, and then the next day, the Saturday, I performed at a restaurant next to the sea, which was really nice. And they just booked me just to do a couple of sets
Love
after
that.
we had like a boat trip thing. So these like what they called what did I say to you? Like authentic Malta, but I can't remember the name of them. But like the really
Yeah.
traditional hand carved boats that are like 30 grand.
Ugh.
Well, 30.
I'll have
I got
7.
talking to the guy. You know what I'm like? I was like, so how much does one of these cost? And he was like,
How much is the down payment?
yeah, it was like 30,000 euros. I was like, okay, but it's all handcrafted wood, and it's like obviously it's like a traditional thing that people obviously like get trips on throughout the day and get a little history
Yeah.
lesson about Malta. But yeah, it was, and then we got back. They did all the bunting stuff and the pride and the trans flag, and we went past the cruise ship, and all the people were out on the balconies like cheering and stuff, and
Oh,
it
I
was really
love
amazing. It was really
it.
back. Everyone had like prosecco nibbles, and then I did like a set. I got a video of that, so we'll post that. We'll post that on the
Okay.
Tape at the Beat. But it was just
Fine.
incredible.
One fucking video.
It was like lead with love, obviously, like love is love, and
Yeah.
it was just this incredible experience. They want me back next year, which is awesome. The owner
Whoop,
of the
whoop, whoop,
restaurant
whoop.
found me on Facebook and gave me a little private message to say how happy he was, and he was like, he said, we have people here that don't usually dance. He said, and you had everyone up dancing, and he said, even when you'd
love
finished that,
that.
it was like a whole big party. So it was just one of them moments where I was like, this is why this is
I
why
did
I do
good.
what I do. Like I just loved it.
Yeah.
So I met some incredible people, like incredible experience.
Great.
So yeah, it was a good weekend. I'm very tired, but it's worth it. The tiredness
Yes.
is worth it.
Which is great. So no Biscoff
No,
for you then?
I'm good. I'm good this week
No. Ah,
so far.
what a great
I'm
time.
a-
I'll have your
Yeah,
Biscoff.
you can have the Biscoff. Although Monday, I feel like we'll both be
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna need
I
fucking
know.
shit tons of Biscoff on
Oh,
Monday.
I know. It's sad, isn't it? I even felt
Yeah, I
weird
mean,
going
as
out there because it was a,
yeah,
it was a
it's
strange one, but then
weird.
it was like I couldn't really cancel, but yeah, I
Yeah,
paid
it's that
respects in
whole thing,
my own
isn't it?
way, and like when I got to the
Yeah.
airport, by the time I got checked in, it was the King's speech, and I put my earphones in and
Fuck.
watched it on my phone, which was a bad idea because I cried in public, and I had to pause
Oh
it, and
no,
I was like,
I cried
I'll
so
watch that
much.
later because I was like, oh my god, Farah, you cannot be like crying in public, so I watched it when I
Eh,
got there, but yeah,
yeah, by time at time of recording right now, guys, it is Thursday, the 15th of September.
mm.
Obviously on last a week ago today,
Mhm,
fuck, we lost our glorious
I know,
queen. And obviously the funeral is on Monday, the 19th.
yeah,
So this will come out a few days after the
yeah,
funeral. Um, yeah, our thoughts with the royal family at this time.
yeah,
It's just fucking
it is
heartbreaking. Like, I don't think it matters how old anyone is. You never want to lose someone that's been a part of your life.
exactly.
Like, it's just so fucking hard, isn't it, mate? Like, just literally horrific. It's a piece of history. We've all witnessed a piece of history like this week.
Exactly. And, in our lifetime, we'll never see a queen again. So it's
No,
like you said, it's very historic. It's going to be
yeah,
kings now.
it's
And
just so.
mm,
It's one of the things, isn't it? Like me and my mum were talking about it, and like my nan was a kid and remembered the coronation of
wow.
Queen Elizabeth, and like I remember her talking about it, and she barely remembered
Yeah.
it, and like that's my nan's generation. You kind of go, fuck,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you kind of just forget. Someone said it on the news actually, like you forget that she is mortal, and she was so mortal, and that our time comes,
Hmm.
everyone's time
Yeah.
comes, but you just didn't think it ever
Yeah.
would.
It's so
I know that's
hard
so
as I know.
stupid.
It's so hard as well, isn't it? I think for the family, because like you said, being royals and celebrities or
Mm.
whatever, to stand there while cameras are on you and
Oh,
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
how
how
they
they've
do
done
it.
it.
I really don't. It can't be good to hold that shit in, like at all.
I mean, we were literally like, if I think about when we lost my nan, like we lost my nan when I was
Hmm.
16, which is many moons ago. Um, and like I can't really talk about her without
Yeah.
crying. And I think if someone had said to me, right, your nan's dead, and in 24 hours you've got to address the nation, you've got to go up and down
Nope.
the country, you've got to be doing this,
No.
fuck that. Like, when are they going to have time to grieve? Like, it's just being a royal is a job that you're born
Yeah.
into that you never asked for.
I know.
Like, and whatever your thoughts are on the royals and the monarchy and the establishment and whatnot, they fucking serve this country, and like they are,
That's how I see it. I'm like they're people at the end
yeah,
of the day, and like I said, it's
they're
hard to
people,
see their
yeah,
struggle being played out in front of you. It's so hard to watch people who are quite
yeah,
clearly in pain but have to hold it in
but can't
because
be, yeah,
because there's cameras on them and people.
yeah.
It's
There was a
it's tough.
really lovely moment yesterday. I was watching the Queen's final
Hmm.
journey from Buckingham Palace to Westminster, and like as they get in there, all the family are stood like silent, watching, like just facing the coffin, and obviously they're told very much to stand straight, just all this sort of stuff. And as they're leaving the church, you can see all of them are like just absolutely distraught, and like Meghan Markle just like grabbed Harry's
Oh
hand, and I was just
no.
like, and, you just kind of go, they're
Yeah.
people. They like
Hmm.
we forget they're people. They have feelings. Like imagine seeing your partner in that much pain. Like
Mm.
just yeah, it's
It's
been
hard.
a
Yeah.
roller
Yeah. Yeah.
coaster.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
Monday shall be sponsored by the Queen in
Yeah.
memory with
There you
Biscoff.
go.
Yeah. Uh, so there's that. So this week we don't have a guest. It's just me and thee.
Me and thee. It is.
Me and thee. And we're gonna be talking kind of a bit about like well, the whole reason we're doing this is to, if anyone hasn't seen the Woodstock program on Netflix,
Jesus. Yeah.
we kind of touched on this a few weeks ago, I think, and said like we need to do an
Yeah.
episode on
We
it. And
did.
it's not just like Woodstock in general, it's the whole kind of music festival scene of like things that I guess we never really clicked were not okay. And that's gonna sound really stupid, but for
Hmm.
instance, stuff like my gig on Saturday where the lights fell on my head, a guy also grabbed my ass while I was singing. And I was infuriated, and I was just like, fuck off, like so angry. And then a part of me went, oh God, anyway.
Hmm.
And I was like,
That's not
no,
okay.
there should never be a moment that we go, oh, okay, anyway. Or like how many times, like I've told people, oh yeah, a guy grabbed my ass, and they go, oh god, yeah, that's happened to me. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
all the time. And you go, hold on, that's
Yeah.
not okay. And I think back to
Mhm.
festivals, being in music venues, being in stuff where you've been accidentally grabbed, accidentally or whatever, and then we watch this Woodstock program, and it's very highlighted the kind of sexual abuse
Yeah.
that happens. If you haven't watched it, please do watch it. It's called. Is it called Trainwreck?
Tra-
No,
yeah, Trainwreck
yeah,
Woodstock. Because there was another
99.
one which I didn't realize either. So I didn't know that there was
Mm,
two anyway, which is very
there was
uneducated of
3.
us. There
There
was
was
three,
yeah,
yeah.
there was
So
3.
until I
Yeah, I knew 62. No, 69.
yeah, 69
No,
obviously was like the peace and love one. And
yeah,
then there was 94. There was a
yes, that sounds about right.
successful, I say successful lightly, and I'm doing it in air quotes, because
Yeah,
I think it wasn't as much as a train wreck as we know, but they didn't kind of
yeah,
talk about it much. All they said was that they lost money on it because the
yeah,
fencing
because the
came
walls
down,
came down.
and so half the people had paid, but then the perimeters started to kind of crumble, and people were like breaking in through the fences, and there's just like a sea of
Yeah,
people getting in for free and partying. So
yes, they lost money
again,
doing
it
it.
was a disaster, and I'm sure there's some stories from that, but they weren't bothered about that one.
Yeah,
So when they tried to
no,
bring
that
it
one wasn't
back,
the
they
big
did it
one.
in like an air base. Was it an old air base where it was like concreted in,
Yeah,
and there was a hospital and things like that, because they thought that would kind of work out better. And it
no,
fucking didn't. It was
it
like,
absolutely
it was
did not.
mayhem. It was like, have you ever seen that program? I think it's called The Tribe. It's like end of the world type thing. Like there's
No, I
riots,
don't think
there's
I
fires, there's like tribes
have. Good
forming.
times.
It literally looks like a scene from that.
Yeah, it's literally just like they call it like mob
Yeah,
mentality, and the problem is like how the company of Woodstock treat people is shocking. Like the the expense of water
yeah.
alone was disgusting, and it was a really hot weekend. People ended up getting dehydration. People were like, there was so many sunstrokes. There was ambulances like constantly
But they
there,
also say
and
that,
yet
and this is the thing that pisses me off. Sorry to interrupt you, but when they were
no,
talking
no, go
about
for it.
money and that they lost money on the first one, so the two things that they cut
Yeah,
back on was security, and
yeah.
what else was it? Was it
Was
like
it
paramedics and like but professional
paramedics?
like
Yeah,
crew for security and paramedics and everything, and
yeah. All the security were just
they were
volunteers that they
volunteers. They
just
were called the
found.
Peace Patrol. They just had a fucking
Yeah,
yellow t-shirt on and just walked
yeah.
around. And there's an
And
interview
they didn't
where
they didn't do
somebody's
anything.
like, "So guys, what do you do? What are you here for?" And there's like, I'm not even going to say the p word because I hate the p word. Um,
Oh yeah, it's fucking
we'll
disgusting.
say,
Yeah, yeah.
a cat.
Cats. We're here for
Cats,
cats.
drugs, and fucking. And I'm like, oh, cool, Peace Patrol. You guys have really
Great.
know
Yeah.
what you're doing there, don't you? It's gonna be great. I feel
Yeah, it was.
protected because you're supposed to be someone that if
Yeah, the
I
whole
was a
like
woman there and didn't feel safe, supposed to come to you.
come to you.
Um. So yeah,
Absolutely not.
that really pissed me off.
That was the whole thing of just like the security was so bad, and like it was this mob mentality of just like fuck you to the
Hmm.
man kind of thing, but take it out on each other. Like, um, so much shit happened. It was so dangerous. It was so bad. But the main things that they kind of brought up was girls would oh my god, what's it called?
Yeah.
Crowd surf. Girls would crowd surf, and guys would be undoing their trousers, grabbing their
Mm.
boobs, and a comment was made by one of the producers of Woodstock, and I don't know if this is the last episode, so I don't know if you've
Yeah,
how your face is
I'm
going to
one
react to this,
episode
whether
off
I know
because
if
I've
you've
been
seen this
really
bit or
busy,
not.
haven't I? So I haven't had a chance to watch the last one yet.
Yeah.
But Nat's filled me in.
He literally says like, "Oh, if the women
Oh
have got
no,
their
that's
tops
second
off,
episode.
like,
That's
what are we meant
yeah.
to do?" Yeah, and he says because they brought up a lot of rape
Mm.
cases come up, and a lot of people come forward and said this happened to me at Woodstock, and he literally said he's like, it's the population of a small village. So if you think about the crime and rape that happens in a small village, this is actually really well done. And we were like literally, I was watching it with Aiden. I was like,
No.
no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. That there should be no rape.
Yeah.
Like,
How
it should
about
be
we
a
just don't rape?
safe.
Yeah.
How about we just let women be who they want to be? Because I'm sorry, if a guy's walking around with his shirt off, no one's
No,
grabbing his
no.
nipples, are they? Like, it's so infuriating. And I watched it, and literally about a week before this, I just booked tickets to Reading
Okay.
Festival. Um,
Mm-hmm.
off on a whim because the 1975 are playing, and if you know me, you know that I am obsessed. They are literally my religion. Matt Heel is just hello. Um, anyway, and so me and Aidan had bought tickets because he had a day off, so we were like, let's go. And I saw Woodstock, and instantly was like, oh my god, yeah, like I went to Reading Festival as a kid because obviously I'm from Reading, so we always used to go. And I remember always feeling a
Mm-hmm.
little bit on edge and not really knowing why. And you'd see things that you don't want to fucking see, and it doesn't feel very. I mean, it's Reading Rock Festival, so it's not really a peace and love
Yeah.
festival anyway. But it also shouldn't be a sexual assault place. And I kind of expressed this to Aidan, said I am a bit dubious, like big crowds, like obviously I have PTSD and la la la. And he was like, at any point you feel unsafe or you feel like too many people, we just go to the other
Yeah.
end of the field, or we just go for food, or we leave. And I was like, right. So I kind of had that in my head. Babe, we got there. There was signs everywhere. The big screens, when they weren't having acts, would play big posters that say like abuse stops now, and like sexual assault doesn't need
Mm-hmm.
to ever exist, and all these incredible things. And then is it Run the Jewels? Is that what they were called?
Oh,
I'm
is this
gonna
the duo you were
just
talking about?
quickly check. Yeah. So basically there were these two guys, and they were Run the Jewels, what they're called. They were really cool. I'd never really heard of them, but we watched them. They're on the main stage, and they literally like stopped the music, and they were like, "Women, do you feel safe? Are you safe here?" And they did this whole speech of like, if you didn't come with her, if you don't know her, if she said no, leave
Mm.
her the fuck alone. And everyone was just like,
Yeah.
yes, like, whoa. And then they were like, if women want to crowd surf, keep your hands off her. And it was just so like, you know, when you go, I
Yeah.
felt heard. Like, it was those moments that I
Yeah.
go, I feel safe. Even though, like, obviously, I don't know what happens behind closed doors, and it's only like one or two people doing something, but you go, oh my
Yeah.
god, you've listened,
Yeah.
you've done something on that stage. And then I went and watched Halsley, and I think I spoke about
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
the
You
other week
did.
on the podcast, but she did this whole thing about women, and I was just like, oh yeah. And I now understand that whole thing of like, when
Mm-hmm.
leaders or people of power put something out, even if you're like, you don't know who I
Yeah.
am, you don't know what I've been through, but I feel heard.
Yeah.
And it was a really,
I
really
mentioned it
lovely
from when I went
feeling.
to Leeds Fest in 2019, and Frank Carter
Yes.
and
Yeah.
the Rattlesnakes. Shout out to them 'cause I fucking love them. They're great. Um,
Yeah.
and that's an all male rock band, and
Yeah.
instantly it was like, let's all like band together right now, and I'm gonna say I will stop the show if what I'm about to say doesn't happen. He was like, keep the women safe. He was like, let them crowd surf. He said, because I know a lot of women won't crowd surf because they feel like they're going to get
Yeah.
groped. They don't feel safe. They won't go in the mosh pit, blah, blah, blah. He was like, so this next song is all for you, all for the women. He was like, you better all fucking look after him because if I hear or see anything, he was like, I will stop the show. He was like, so ladies, he was like, get up. If you want to crowd surf, do it. Mosh pit, it's
Oh,
your time. Go. And it was the most, and I
love
wasn't,
that.
obviously, I was with the rest of my family, so we were kind of like halfway down. We weren't near like the mosh pit or anything like that.
Yeah.
Not that that's quite my scene, but yeah, it
You're like, hold my Gucci sunglasses, please,
Gucci
people. while I
Primani,
just
thank you. Um,
Gucky
but yeah, it
Primark.
was just
Yeah.
even in that moment, I felt heard, and I was like, oh my god, if I wanted to go through
Yeah.
there right now on my own and leave everyone and be like, see you in a minute,
I could.
I felt like I really could. And everyone were cheering. There were
Yeah.
no men going, oh, fucking hell, oh, here we go. They were all just like, woo, and like you could see all the women, and it was,
Yeah.
I probably got a picture somewhere, I'll try and find it. Either that or I kind of was just in the moment. And I just remember seeing only women crowd surfing, and it was incredible. It was
I love
absolutely
that.
incredible. So it is
But
happening. Like,
that's
you know,
so nice.
people are
Yeah.
listening, but I'm glad he did that, but it shouldn't take that. It shouldn't take
shouldn't
him
have
to
to. Yeah.
basically talk to you all like you fucking children
Yeah.
and be like, right, everyone, I will stop this show if you touch any women. That
Yeah.
shouldn't be the case. I mean, thank you,
No.
but fuck me. Like,
Yeah. But it is such a like, I think like watching that Woodstock program, like I've being like a child of like
Mm-hmm.
rock, like that was my childhood growing up. I was the Slipknot Slayer girl, like Bullet for My Valentine, front row fucking centre, mate. But I always had Woodstock in my head of what you've heard about it was like this festival of love, of
Mm-hmm.
peace, of just like amazingness. And then watching that, I was like, that's
Yeah.
tainted it. And the fact the guy that runs Woodstock, I mean, he has actually passed away now, so it is. I feel I'm not going to talk bad of the dead, but he didn't really give a
No,
shit.
it was more like he
Like,
cared about money.
no, all they
Mm-hmm.
needed to make the money back. And we spoke about this briefly before we came on the podcast, but Cheryl Cole,
Of the t- of the
oh,
of
the
the
drugs are
tablets
kicking
kicked
in.
in.
The drugs are
Cheryl
kicking
Cole
in.
was not. I'm just going to clarify for everyone. Was
Cheryl
not at
Cole was
Woodfest
not at
in '96. What?
Woodfest.
Oh my
Woodfest.
god! Have I had
Woodfest.
drugs?
I'm rubbing off on you. No,
Oh my
so
god!
Cheryl Crow.
Was
Cheryl
not
Crow.
at Woodstock.
Stop.
Crow was.
But Cheryl
yeah.
Crow
There we go.
was. So yeah, Cheryl Crow performed
Mhm.
at this 99 Woodstock, and she's not like massive hardcore rock at all. And like people were screaming like, "Show us your tits!"
Like
and
midway
stuff.
through a song.
And she was
yeah.
midway through a set, and she stops and she's like addresses it, and then like moves on, and she's like, you could tell she's
people
fucking
boo her.
uncomfortable.
Like, because she go,
People
I
boo
think
her,
she says
yeah.
something like, basically, quite polite. Because if that were me, I'd be like, shut the fuck up. But
Yeah.
she's very much like, you. What did she say? Something like, you've not paid me enough to get that kind of show.
Yeah, she's
I
like,
don't get
I don't
paid
get
enough for
paid
that.
enough for that. Yeah.
And a drummer and all the band's like, woo!
Yeah.
But then you hear people like, we boo, because she won't get her tits out. I'm like, what?
And it's literally like, what do you stop? Like, you don't own that
But also,
person's
can you
body.
imagine going to a
to-
concert
Ugh.
and being like, Harry Styles, get your dick out? Like, what? No.
Imagine, sorry. Oh, fuck's sake. No. Fucking no,
Wouldn't
mate.
happen. But it
But
became a
that's-
riot, and
yeah.
then I blame, what was his name? I blame him.
Limp Bizkit.
He got
Fred
everyone
Durst.
going. I don't really, by the way, I'll take that back. But he gave the big
When you get
speech of
sued.
like, take all that energy and just build it up and let it go now. And then all of a sudden,
Oh.
all this fucking crazy energy that they'd all had all weekend just went mental, and
Went
that's when the riots
ballistic.
really started. And like the people in the sound desk were like, the
Fuck.
everything that they were kind of caged in. All the pillars were like shaking, and they show radio bits of like, we need backup, like come and get us, and they just had to leave because they were just getting, there was just riots. It was crazy.
It's so mad. And it's literally like you said, like, it's not like Fred Durst. Like,
No, it's not.
because there's a
it's not his
statement
fault,
that made
but-
about it. But she is only joking. But it's that whole thing of like when you're booking huge bands that are rock based, like teenage angst, anger
Yeah.
bands for a peace and love festival, and then you treat the audience like
Yeah.
fucking shit, and they do turn mob mentality on you, and there was a lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol, a lot of shit going down. That literally was
Yeah.
a spark that just lit
Yeah.
those fucking flames. And it just really, it made me feel really uncomfortable to watch, because and same with you, we love music. Music is our life, our passion. Literally, the amount of times I'm like, I'm fucking done, I'm quitting, and then I'll be like, no, really, I like you too much. Like, it's a toxic
is.
relationship with music. But when I think about like my happiness, it's at festivals, it's at
Yeah.
performance, it's at gigs. Like, like I remember during COVID being like, what if I never get to stand in a sweaty field again, full of like people just loving the music, and like those moments, and that watching that Woodstock program, you're like, as a woman, that's another thing I'm
Yeah.
terrified to do. And it's like, what the fuck?
I must admit, like I was,
no.
I never stayed over at Leeds Fest. I went just for the day, a night with my dad and my family. But
Yeah.
there, it felt safe. It felt organised.
Yeah.
The only I've been to the other, when I went to Fake Fest. I think I mentioned it the other week for my dad's 60th. And we all went there, and I completely understand the capacity of people is nowhere near the same amount. There was 5,000
Yeah.
people at Fake
There's
Fest,
still a lot of people.
but there's still 5,000 people. and I stayed
That's
over
a lot of
in a
humans.
tent. You know, I was up through the night having to walk to toilets with a torch, and I felt so safe because every night there'd be
Great.
like a fire engine that they'd hired all the services that you needed, that just kind of went around the parks or the campsite, sorry,
Love
and
that.
just made sure that nobody was left the fire. Well, you weren't allowed fires, but you know what I mean, like weren't doing anything,
Yeah. Just
just
making
making
sure
sure
everyone's
everyone was
safe.
safe.
Yeah.
It was clean. There was shower, like it was this whole safe feeling. And not once did I feel like, oh, or do you know what I mean? Even when when we
Yeah.
were in the mosh pit or whatever, there was no. If you did bump someone, you'd be like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Do you know what I mean? There was no grabbing of any kind.
Yeah.
It was all just a very nice atmosphere where people enjoyed the music. There was no fighting, there was no violence, there was no
Yeah.
gawping or anything like that. So, again, I know there was only 5,000 people there, but you just like, what kind of people went there? Do you know? And you're just like, how did that many people just
Well,
like
that's
lose
yeah.
their shit? And I know it's drugs as
And
well,
why
but
is it like
fuck.
yeah, but this is me gonna sound a little bit like dickish here, but I just go, why is it we're hearing about rape and sexual harassment? Like it's literally like, I'm annoyed, anger,
Mm,
I'm pissed off. Where's the women?
yeah,
Like, it's it's just that whole thing of like,
yeah,
fuck's sake, like just so it's that whole thing as well of people being like, well, how short was her skirt? Or, well,
yeah.
she was wearing this. Fuck off. If a woman wants to walk down the road with like fucking nipple tassels, a dildo shoved up her ass, whatever she fucking wants, does not give anyone the right to
Sorry.
touch or molest her.
You gave me
Like,
such a weird image
it's
in my
true
head
though.
then. I was like, why did I go, like, why? But if she
But
wants
sure, like live your
that
life. If she, yeah, that's cool. Like, that does not give
to
anyone
touch her.
the right. Like,
That's the
no.
bit that got
And that,
me. And
ugh,
it actually
yeah.
made my stomach turn a little bit. Um, you've told me about what happens in the last episode, which I will watch tomorrow. But there's a scene, it might be in the first episode, where
Yeah.
a cameraman's filming and he's basically just like telling these guys, he's like, because they've all created this circle around this one woman and they've
Oh
like
my god,
made her
yeah.
take a bikini top off and they're all, you can hear them all like, but they've got so in on her and closed in on her that even the guys like, give her some room, like you're scaring her, because they all kind
Yeah.
of went in and
Yeah.
it's like fucking vultures. I'm like, what was in the air? What was happening? That like, there's honestly
Yeah.
about 9 men stood around her, but they've all like enclosed on her. She's got a bikini top halfway
Yeah.
off because like, you can tell she doesn't want to, but they're all telling her to do it. And it's an
Yeah,
awful
they're like
scene.
grabbing her at one point, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's fair play to that fucking cameraman stepping in and being like,
yeah,
"Hey, back up, back up," and like, it's that weird like, I don't like this terminology, and I apologize in advance for me using it, but you'll know what I mean, like the lad
yeah.
mentality
Lads,
of
lads,
like,
lads.
get your
Yeah.
tits out, like, way, show us your
Ew,
gash, like,
I've
all that
heard
sort
that
of
word
shit.
for ages, sorry.
Have you? Good old Reading lass here.
You'd expect that from me,
Um,
but not from you.
but it's that whole thing, isn't it? And like that's what that moment is. The guy's like,
Mm.
"Way," la, la, la," and she's like trying to laugh it off, and it's that awkward laugh that so many of
Yeah,
us
because she's
recognise when
intimidated.
you. Yeah, like I was actually having a conversation with a friend about this a few days ago about something else of like when a guy says something quite pervy but in a jokey way, and there's that
Mm.
awkward laugh that is pure.
Y-
Please fuck off and leave me alone because you're terrifying me, but I don't want to offend you
Because that
because
also
you
scares me,
I don't know
yeah.
what you might do.
Yeah.
And it's that laugh that she
Hmm.
does in that moment that I literally was like,
I
I
feel the
feel
pain, yeah.
your like panic there of like, just like, hey, this is so funny, yeah. Okay, here's my
Yeah,
move. Okay,
there's
bye.
9 of you, shit, and yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it was in the middle of fucking day, everyone around. And also, like, Ada made a point. These people are being
Mm.
filmed, and they know they're being filmed. Like,
This
what
is
is
what
this?
I mean.
Like,
It's just,
ugh.
how was there that many
Yeah.
people just in that frame of mind? That's what scares me. Like, did you just pick
Yeah, it's terrifying.
there was evil people in the world to get together and just be like, woo, rape and sexual assault, let's go. Like, what the fuck happened?
It was like, we watched it, and I was like, it feels like it was a social experiment of, like,
Mm-hmm.
what the fuck? Like, um, I'm going to, spoiler alert, everyone, if you haven't watched it and you want to watch it and you don't want me to ruin it, skip forward like 45 seconds. You can do that on Spotify. But there's this moment in the last episode where like a car is going through the crowd and everyone's like, what the hell is happening? And it's going really slowly, but it's going through the crowd and all the security are like, fuck, we need to like stop this. Like the actual security people who are paid to be there. And they're like, run in to try and see what the fuck's going on, stop the car. The car stops. They open the back of the car and there's a random guy in there pulling his pants up and a girl naked passed out. And like the guy who talks about it, he's just like, he was like, I didn't know what to do. And it's like that thing of a girl was being raped while everyone was around enjoying the music, living their best life, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, how does someone's brain go, do you know what would be a really good idea? I'm gonna get my kicks out of that. I'm gonna like, a peace and love festival. It's really upsetting that, and I think I keep saying it as if music's a person, but like for me, music festivals, these are the things we love so much, and yet they're being tainted. So it's that whole thing, isn't it? Of just like, when will it be safe for us to do whatever the fuck we want to do?
Yeah. I know it's hard again, isn't it? Because it's this time of year as well. Like the nights drawing in, and it's like, do I go for a walk? What time will the sun go down? Like, it's that whole thing. Or can I go for a run? Or, even the other night, I got home from the gym, and I was just like walking through the car park. It was one of the last classes, so I think I finished at like 9, and there was like me and a guy who'd walked out of the gym at the same time, walking to our cars, and I'd the only space that I had, because I go for 2 hours, so when I get there, usually it's quite busy, so I just park wherever. But this time there was obviously only one space at the back, so I had to walk all the way to the other side of the car park. And I'd done the whole thought ahead, and I parked under a lamp so that I knew that when I come out, like there'd be a street lamp there, so I could. But the whole time I was just like, even though I know the guy had just come out the gym, we were kind of walking side by side for a minute, and I was like, I don't like this. Like I've got to walk further than you, and it was horrible. And that's the first time I was like, oh, it's late now. Like the sun's gone.
But he won't have even thought that. He'd have probably been like, oh, that was a good workout. Oh, okay. Oh, there's a girl next to me. Cool, great. La la la. What am I gonna have for dinner?
Yeah.
La 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 la.
Absolutely. But
Whereas we go, please don't rape and kill me.
I was like, I'm just gonna keep walking, and like my brain was like, well, people saw him walk out with me, like. And again, it might sound dramatic to some people listening, but when you've seen things or things have happened to you,
It's not.
it does. These things happen, and it's awful and it's scary. And the fact that I did, when I got there, it was it was light still, and my brain was like, oh, there were probably a couple of spaces, but they were right at the back of the car park. But I was like, right, find a lamp though, find a street light, so that I can park underneath it, because I know that when I come out, it's going to be pitch black.
Literally what you're saying is like things I've not even considered in my brain of me going like, so I do aerial hoop, and my hoop class is at 8 p.m. and I have like not even like subconsciously gone, all right, you're going to have to drive now to those rather than get in the tube and then walk. And isn't that funny? Like literally I haven't even considered that being a thought, but that's just the thought I've had already.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, cool. And like I've got a meeting next week, and I'm like, oh, that'll finish at this time, and I can get the tube to Hoop. Oh, but then I won't have my car because I've got the tube, and okay, I won't go. And you're just like, no, these aren't even thoughts I should be having.
That we should have, yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
I know.
It's just, it's a whole other thing. And like, one thing I don't know, we harp on about it, but women's safety, like I will keep fucking screaming about it until we do feel safe enough to go for a fucking walk at 9 p.m. However, Queen Consort Camilla is an activist for women's rights.
She is.
And she made a statement that said, I think it was a couple of months ago, she was like, when it happens and when I become Queen Consort, she was like, I will still be continuing my work because this is not a subject that can be left. And I was like,
No.
amazing, good.
Let's get her on the podcast.
Let's literally, babe. I don't think you're busy. I'm not sure. Could you fit us in 45 minutes? It's remote. It's done remote on Zoom. You'll be fine. Imagine. Well, that was a random little podcast on women's safety in music. We've had some very much personal experiences with this, and we want to come on and talk to you guys about it. And for any musicians out there who are women and men and anyone, we hope you feel safe. And please, like, if you don't feel safe, please speak out. Please talk to someone. If you're an artist, if you're an audience member, whoever you are, please reach out. Don't let the little things slip.
Yeah. And also, we want to say thank you as well. We will get back round to messaging you all. So all the emails and messages that we get direct of people just supporting the podcast and supporting, Take Back the Beat in general. And for all the recommendations of like podcast ideas and things like that. So even if, you don't want to come on and share your story with us just yet, please give us recommendations to watch things or to read things, so that we can discuss any topic on here. So thank you so much, by the way, to everyone who's messaged us and got in contact, because we really do appreciate it.
Absolutely. And on that note, Farah's going to a gig and I'm going to go lie down with my drugs.
Yeah, you go take a nap. I'm going to do a 2-hour drive. The dream.
Oh, I love our lives. Do you have a win of the week?
Mine was just Malta. Very, very happy. Very, very blessed. Had a very blessed moment where I was like,
We'll give Malta.
hard work pays off. Yeah.
Peace out, guys. Love you all.
Love you.
I'm
Bye.
concussed.
Take back the beat. Voice notes.
We do apologise if anyone was triggered by any of the dialogue we used today. We are still learning and we are only just beginning to talk about our own experiences. We're aware that trigger warnings are completely different for everybody, so please bear with us. We love you all. We also want to hear your experiences. If there's anything you'd like to share with us, any stories, anything you are happy to discuss on this podcast, you can stay anonymous if you would like. Please send us an email at takebackthebeattour@gmail.com. That's takebackthebeattour@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media at Take Back the Beat. Thanks, guys. We love you all.